I'm kind of like I think people like Michael Jordan. I'm kind of a unique kind of character.
And I love
you just see how games and possessions are so intense, how they mean more. I think the U.S. is going to all see win.
Hello and welcome to Nothing But Respect. My name is Harry Krinsky. I am joined, as always, by Patrick Redford, and we are joined by Liz Franczak, back on the show again, the people's champ. And, look, it's just a huge scandal. I'll just come out and say it. We got to talk about the Jaylen Brown hairline situation.
Oh my God, Jaylen!
What do we make of this?
Just be bald. Just be bald.
Do you guys remember the Carlos Boozer one?
Every day.
Yeah, because that was just that, and he, to be his credit, was very funny about it years later. He was like, that was the worst decision I've ever made. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Whatever. So
I do feel like he hasn't lived it down though. No. Like it is now attached to him.
Yeah. It's funny too that Jaylen is the guy doing this, because the way he's like a very serious guy. Like his public persona is like, I take this seriously. I kind of know what I'm doing. And for him to be the spray on hair guy is like particularly fun, especially in this
so
busted
serious.
Celtics season. Yeah.
But also you're just like, bro, like, what if it's his politics that's keeping him from going to Turkey to get it fixed? He's just I cannot abide.
I'd get on Turkish hairlines, but the Erdogan situation is out of control.
I was talking to Freedom too much.
No, if Jaylen suddenly, Celtics are in full tank already. Just Brad Stevens' masterclass in orchestrating just a completely only beatable roster. But if let's get Jaylen a not that serious injury and get him off the court so he can go handle his business.
The other funny thing was having a 8-part Netflix documentary ostensibly about Jaylen Brown, at least as one of the main characters in this Netflix starting 5 thing, and not one mention of his hairline in that, believe it or not.
I haven't actually started watching it. Is it good?
I didn't like the first season very much, because it basically assumes that the viewer is like, their knowledge of basketball is that it's like a game played with a sphere and that there's a guy named Michael Jordan. And it sort of assumes that you don't watch the NBA.
Yeah.
So it's not for us, but
sure.
I found it kind of stupid.
Second
also,
season
like the Ultimate Final Cut, like it's a propaganda documentary. Right?
Totally. That's what all of those are. And I guess they've all been very successful for the respective leagues. I watched some of the horse racing one. No, the Olympics one is in a different class, I think.
That one was good.
That one, yeah, we talked about that last time I was on the show.
That's true, yeah.
But that one was like actually really well done and had just also by virtue of like the amount of access they had. And they really, those are all the stars are there. So it was like really nice. But all the other Netflix ones for the different leagues always seem just like they're like a way to try to get new fans.
Yeah, and you were saying before we started recording that you thought they should do an Austin Reeves centric one. That was you're making a very strong case for that.
I wasn't, but I do like, now that you've put it out there, I'm like, that actually might. What's up with that dude off the court? I feel like we would see some stuff that would make us upset.
What was the show with Paris Hilton and
Simple Life.
The Simple Life. Like I could see The Simple Life with
like I'm so curious actually, like Austin Reeves can go so many different ways. Cause so I don't know that much about his personal life, but like, is he Dubai NFT guy? Like, does he have like the spray painted like graffiti art in his house? Because he's got a huge contract, right? Doesn't he have?
He's about to get huge. Crazy
that's right.
This summer,
so he's got to keep putting up 50 so that he can
really cash in on a board.
Yeah, go get cashed in on whoever.
Do you remember?
I mean, the Lakers that's an interesting team. Unfortunately,
I watched them last night and drove me crazy. I think they took 33 free throws to the Kings 7, but when you watch it, you're like, they probably should have taken more. Like the Kings are just so busted. Remember in 2020 when James Harden was wearing a Punisher Blue Lives Matter mask and everyone got mad at him, and Young Thug said a line that I think about every day, which is, he don't have internet, as a means of explaining it, which I actually really like. I find to be a very useful and profound way to think about this. And I think Austin Reeves don't have internet.
Oh my God. That's the the truest thing I've heard about James Harden in so long.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. I think, I feel like Austin Reeves, like in my head, he's like in a crazy mansion with like no furniture and like rip off Cause NFT art on the walls.
Right.
And he wears like goggles in his house. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like got that kind of like, there's like a Middle East funky white boy energy about him.
Like almost he's quietly nodding with what Michael Porter Jr. is saying, like, but isn't going on the pods because it's a contract.
Yeah.
One thing about Austin Reeves, just to about his personality, two things that I think go in his favor and maybe a little bit outside of NFT guy is one. Well, it's not in favor, just true. He is really good at golf. Like his whole thing is in off-season golf. He has a separate golf like TikTok account, which is not. It's kind of endearingly not designed to be famous. It's just him like nice
That's
shots
cute.
of him playing golf, which is cute. And then I think there is something. This is I genuinely like about him. To still have the fuck ass haircut he has this far into his career, to me is a sign of like a commitment to some level of authenticity
Or branding. He's like, this is like my brow.
Yeah, exactly.
I can never get rid of it.
He's maintaining his aw shucks, folksy, don't have internet, plausible deniability. And then the second he signs that like $300 million contract in Miami, it's just like he's getting the Tyler Hero 3 lines cut in the side of his head.
Seriously.
He's adopting the mustache. Like,
Oof.
Okay,
I mean, the one thing I will give him is that, I mean, it's not like, classic, he's not supposed to be here guy, which, you got to appreciate.
yeah.
But I can't give the Lakers anything. So.
Well, they're going to be bad this year, I think.
Institution. Yeah. I mean, Luka looks amazing, but like inevitably hurt already.
I don't know.
Yeah. But we have you on because the NBA, in addition to the hairline scandal, there's like a second story that broke last week. Obviously, Kash Patel going up there and saying that the Toronto Rangers are one of the many figures involved in NBA gambling. And we wanted to have you on to sort of talk through this scandal and make the many connections that it has to like NBA media and power and money and like what this sort of says about the state of the league and gambling's place within it. Because this has been a big story that's sort of been bubbling up that people have had like a hard time properly contextualizing, like Jonte Porter getting banned, Malik Beasley getting invested. Like these have all seemed like very sort of disconnected, almost disparate things. And like something that comes through in this pair of indictments the FBI dropped and like the way it's being talked about is that like there is this like larger problem that like no one kind of knows how to talk about or name. So to get us started, just like what did you think when this story first dropped?
I feel like it's so funny that we're doing this again because we didn't even mean to, but the last time I was on the show, we talked so much about this and and like kind of every angle, right? Because we were talking about what it was doing to the players, what it was doing to the audience, but then also what it's doing to the media. And so to your point about like nobody knows how to talk about this. I think there's a reason for that, which we can get into.
We're all trying to figure out why.
I was like, oh, why is this? Yeah, totally. I will say just right off the bat, I do not think that Kash Patel watches basketball.
You don't think he knows ball?
No.
I did a quick check in his mentions. I looked back and saw if he's ever tweeted about, to my knowledge, he has not tweeted anything about, I checked NBA, basketball, and LeBron.
That's always a good one to check. Him being a Premier League guy is so weird to me. I don't even know how much I believe that. Because remember he wore that Liverpool tie?
That was like a big
Congress?
important hearing or something, right?
Yes. Can you imagine? Imagine like fucking some jackass showing up to like testify in front of Congress in like a fucking like Green Bay Packers like printed shirt. It's so embarrassing. Everything is so embarrassing. Anyway, what do I make about this? I think that like, first of all, from people I've spoken to, doesn't that sound cool? From people I've spoken to, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And there's like a much bigger case here that I think the NBA is preemptively trying to contain. But I don't know if like how much. I think there's going to be more stuff that drops. I think some of it will probably be about Beasley, because some of that is not resolved. But so I think there's like, there's a couple things here. There's also some other cases that are not related, but weirdly similar that have dropped over the past like 2-3 years, including one involving Matt Carter, which is like worth bringing up because that one got swept under the rug real quick.
Don't hear so much these days.
No, the Clutch team was on that one real fast, getting all mentions deleted off of Google. But and maybe we can get into that or not. So I don't think it's going away. I don't know if you saw Silver's on like live interview that he did the other night
from the tunnel on Amazon.
From the tunnel, yeah. Holy shit, that guy's got charisma, doesn't he? Wow. He looked like a deer in headlights. He looked completely unprepared and confused on how to like answer really like not hardball questions, and surely ones that he got in advance and approved in advance. I mean, I can't look. Adam Silver, he reports technically to the owners, I guess. That's how that relationship works. So until the owners feel like he is not doing a good job, which I can't imagine they're anywhere close to feeling that way, he's not going to go anywhere. But like, I couldn't imagine a worse person to try to handle the media fallout of like, because from where I'm standing, I'm like, okay, you've got all these different kind of scandals dropped with the NBA, right? You had the paying players under the table stuff with Kawhi, but obviously that's been going on forever. But still, that was pretty scandalous, and also the way Ballmer handled that was very funny. You've got the NBA not holding people account for all of this improper sports betting, although, like you say, it's like part of a bigger, larger conversation about how the league and its, and the media have embraced this stuff and how it's changed the way that we are both playing and watching sports and experiencing sports. And then you've got the Luka stuff, right? And the Luka and the flag draft, which funny enough, we also were talking about last time I was on. But like all three of those things hitting over the off season, it like the NBA stinks. It stinks. It smells like it's not good, and people can say, oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think that's been really interesting. I saw like Simmons basically, just because we were talking about him before we started recording.
Who was?
But Simmons was basically like, wow, everyone's compromised. Who cares? And it's like, oh shit, okay, well then never mind. You sound like every other fucking, nihilistic asshole trader or anyone else involved in any of this kind of stuff. And that seems to be everyone's attitude. It's like, well, this is just how it is now, which is like really shocking to me.
Yeah, how are you supposed to feel reassured when the defense offered by like the most famous media person involved is like, well, gambling has just kind of always existed, and this is like a better form than it used to take. Like, I think if you're like a young person getting into the NBA, you would feel insulted by that, honestly.
It's just very weird to me because I think that like, I don't understand how you can, it's so narrow-minded. And yes, of course, he's compromised in his own words. I mean, by his own admission, he said he's compromised. But like, that digital pocketbook casinos and interactive broadcasting are different in kind than going to a sports book at fucking Caesars, right? Like the barriers to this stuff are so different, and the way that it is being promoted and marketed and the way that it's infiltrated people's lives. And, look, not to get too like moralistic or my high horse, but like, I do think these guys have a little bit of a responsibility here, like their audience is primarily young men who are the most susceptible to gambling addiction And gambling addiction is like is one of the worst that you can get. It is so destructive. And you couple that with the fact that in this country right now, oh my God, now I sound like put me on a soapbox. But I'm serious, like prospects for young men, specifically prospects for everybody, but really for young men in this country are fucking terrible. There's no fucking jobs. There's no careers. The idea that you can have any kind of stability and you are inundated with this kind of media 24/7, and not just gambling, it's everywhere. That the gambling is just part of a larger sort of casino complex that we live in, right? And you either can, make it by winning big on a big, parlay, or by doing bum fights for crypto on whatever fucking streaming channel and get, 5 minutes of fame. And that's sort of the opportunity that we're offering young men. And I'm just like, I think it's absurd the way these guys act. You say, oh, I'm compromised. Yeah, no fucking shit, you're compromised. I could tell you that. What can you say? What can you say?
I think especially to this last point about like, this being an outlet for young men and this being a digital thing, something that we are kind of all collectively reckoning. You guys on TrueAnon just had a very troubling episode about, the various like satanic internet groups. There was this big article in Harper's about gooning. Like,
oh, we're talking to that guy tomorrow.
Hell yeah. But the point being, like, we are not, at least my feeling about seeing all of this is like, wow, okay, I knew that fucked up stuff goes on the internet. Like fucked up stuff went on the internet when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. We are not collectively prepared for the acceleration of like what that is going to look like. And it's now making you think about it, or like making me think about, well, pitching that forward into gambling. Like what is the unspeakably fucked up internet related thing that is related to gambling? Like who maybe it is full scale, I've been saying like, I think there's going to be a large scale college gambling issue very soon because they're not getting paid a lot. They're blah, blah, blah.
Well, they just legalized you can't bet on the games, but you can bet on other sports.
Like the day after this story broke last
I know, it
week,
was incredible.
But yeah,
that's what I'm saying. These are the opportunities, right? We're not going to pay you, but download DraftKings, promo code not paid, and you get 10% off your first parlay or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. And like I'm glad you brought up the gooning article, because towards the end, there was this long paragraph where he connected like the sort of soul poisoning aspects of like gooning addiction to basically not the same, but like similar in kind to like being addicted to like watching TikTok or sports gambling. And it's kind of like what you said, where there's a certain element of like precarity that like informs it and informs its like popularity. But the thing with gambling, like there was a big Rolling Stone article that came out earlier this month where it's like gambling addiction is so much more widespread among like college age kids than anyone knows how to deal with. And it's like, who's going to be like the NBA players in 5 years? Who are like the apex sports consumers? Like, it's like those very kids. So like, I think fundamental to a lot of media's inability to cover it is this idea that like the games themselves and the fans watching it represent this like much more static block, when really like, again, this is kind of a COVID story where it's like this large cohort of disaffected sort of like, I don't want to say economically imperiled, but economically imperiled young men who like form the superstructure of all of sports fandom. Like those people with like those, I'd sound like such a moralizer, but like, you know what I mean?
Sometimes
like those people with those
gotta
specific,
be.
yeah, it's hard not to be with this stuff. Like they are going
Someone's
to like,
gotta be.
yeah.
Well,
I don't know, it feels bad.
One just quick thing around that too, that I've been thinking about, because there's obviously the one part of this digital expression is super disaffected memes. And I've been noticing just how much basketball are in these super disaffected memes, like the LeBron coming out of nowhere memes. I mean, they're very funny. I like them, but like we are seeing this class, I guess, of people, not economic class, but grade class, get older and older and have their lives be like at least weightier as you get older and you're not 16 anymore. And And I think it's right to point that out.
It's funny, you bringing up the gooning thing in that piece. One thing that I think was really interesting about it is that these kids seem like the fetish doesn't actually have to do with porn at all. It's a fetish of media itself. And it's like being kind of like in the way that they talk, even the way they talk about their gear, and how the entire kind of interactions with each other are all gamified. You see they get like different wins and different points for certain activities. And the whole complex felt like this sort of it was almost like too perfect, like articulation of what we all experience day to day, or what we continue to experience, like the actual media environment that we live in. And I think that's why I get really pissed off at these guys. It's not just Simmons or whatever. Even you said the Dunked On guys, right? They're like, they don't give a fuck. And it's so funny because I was just like, man, I haven't listened to those guys in so long. I'm going to go just check something. And I was looking at their close to like 50 different sponsors. And you see DraftKings, of course, promo code layup. Robinhood is one of them, which is just another betting app of so many. Something called Roofstock, this is a quote from their website. Roofstock helps you buy, sell, and own investment properties the way pro investors do to start earning passive income right away. With Roofstock, you can invest in single family homes across the country for as little as $20K down. Is it, or is it just like, buying mortgage-backed securities through app?
Almost literally. Wow.
There's Lending Club, promo code, of course, Capspace. You love it. Access to $40K in private lending, right? So and then something called literally My Bookie. Mm-hmm. And here's the quote: sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Join My Bookie to collect your winnings quickly. So
that's a problem we all deal with.
We love, what gambling needs, digital gambling, what it needs is actually like a payday lending service. I think that's the way that we can actually make this better. But that's just a sampling of some of the shit that we're talking about that's underwriting sports media, right? And, on the one hand, these guys think of themselves as journalists. I get it. They all came out of that, right? They're all of the age where you were blogging, you were coming out of the blogosphere, you were just trying to find, maybe I'm going to SB Nation, maybe I'm trying to go down Grantland, maybe I'm trying to just wherever it was, right? But that environment has now fundamentally changed, and so has their jobs. And they are, to bring it back to the gooning stuff and the way that we all are living in this media environment, right? Simmons, Lowe, all these guys have to produce an absurd amount of content to stay relevant, to fulfill their contractual obligations, to do whatever. And they are inundating the, cultural sewage system with all of this shit, just like everyone, just like all of the stuff that these gooning kids are responding to. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They're fetishizing the same. So I was reading this article and I was just like, this is such a disgustingly perfect, Žižekian articulation of the perverse world that we live in. And it's not just some, we're all on Safari looking at a bunch of internet weirdos. These internet weirdos are maybe the most honest out of all of us.
Yeah, it's there's the thing that Kolitz got to in that story is that the porn of it all is somewhat incidental. That just is this mechanism for immersion and this idea of sort of surrendering yourself and being obliterated by media, just in general, not porn specifically. And I think that connects to the gambling stuff in a way, because there's this idea that watching sports is not enough. You can watch the Lakers play the Warriors, yes. And that if that is just weightless, if that's just a thing that's on TV, this idea of sports as a site of connection, a place to have an aesthetic experience, like whatever, that's not enough, that you have to be inside the game, that you have to get in on the action, that like it has to be this interactive experience. And I think like to the Simmons and Lowe point, basically the traditional like basketball journalist type, like I guess I have to include myself here, is that you are providing sort of ancillary content to the thing that is existing, but that's like not enough. You know, it's like the standard is now set that like the only media that is like breaking through is like stuff you can intellectually goon to, you know?
Totally. They were just eroticizing the feed.
Right. Yeah. And well, it's interesting too, around all of this is like a big panic at one point around, early sort of nascent ratings discourse was like, oh, it's a second screen experience. They're on their phone as much as they're watching the game, whatever. But what this is this kind of like perverted synthesis of phone and second screen. It's like creating a space in between phone and second screen where you can, sports goon yourself into being in the game, which I think is weirdly if you are a fan of trapping people in like endless loops, it's a excellent win actually, because now the phone isn't taking away from their experience, it's ostensibly beaming them inside of it.
I mean, it's the same thing with the content stuff fits right in with this, right? Because you have like personality driven media and gambling in this kind of symbiotic relationship, and not just because of their contractual obligations, but because like their need of having to, producing these constant stories, this constant like event driven narrative. Is X player going to go to this team? Is X going to average this many points? What the fuck was the thing you told me today? Or what was it? Was like, is Wemby like better than, I can't remember what it was that you said. Now I'm like fucking it up.
Wait, which one? The
maybe it was like
better than Wilt Chamberlain should Wemby average whatever 60 points
a game? Yeah.
Oh,
is that gonna all this bullshit, right? But they mirror what you're able to bet on, right? And that's not a coincidence. These two things are forming each other and feeding into each other, and constant stories feed constant bets. The way that they tell the stories of the NBA, by the way, this is not necessarily like there's no reason why sports journalism, sports narrative writing, the way that the sport is communicated to fans or talked about amongst fans needs to be in this register. It doesn't have to be driven this way, right? That's another thing Bill Simmons has to answer for. But when you're shifting from that kind of attention to athletic substance into what is essentially monetizable speculation, we're just talking about an entirely different ecosystem. And I think that like this gets into, I mean, we started this conversation off by saying like, what is it that people are like attuned to but don't know how to talk about? And this is what I feel like people can feel this shift and don't understand exactly how to talk about it, or what has kind of happened or what is going on. But I do think that the way in which like sports are discussed has an absolute effect, and almost like strengthens or buttresses like gambling's hold on the sport, and then furthers the leagues for being like, well, this is what the fans want, and it keeps the cycle keeps moving and moving and moving.
Yeah, there's like a market cynicism to it that creates that like positive feedback loop you're describing. Absolutely.
I was thinking about this, and I wanted to talk about this in general, about the various media responses, right? Beyond there's what you're talking about, I guess we're all compromised, like stick your hand up. And then another one that I've noticed, I'm curious if you guys have seen, is like the sort of the problem is parlays. If you shouldn't be, yes. Or like the problem is prop bets. Prop bets.
The martyr, the prop bet.
Yes, and it's that's like silly, but it is. I also keep thinking about coming at it from the same place you're talking about, Liz. Is like the entire NBA apparatus since they made this bet on social media to like beat the NFL in 2005 or whatever has been about individual atomized player personalities. And the prop bet is like the distilled version of that. It is and so this whole idea of like, oh, let's get rid of prop bets. It's like everybody fucking loves prop bets because everybody loves players and they don't love teams and they love, it's like, you can't, I hope we can all, and I hope we are all one day in a position to turn that narrative around, but it's not as simple, of course, as being like, okay, you're right. You can't bet on the under of, Brandon Bajemski or whatever.
It's funny. Every response, including from the league to, I think Zach Lowe said, some other people have kind of responded being like, well, maybe we should just get rid of prop bet. Some sort of message went out, obviously.
Change how the injury gets reported was another big thing too.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, we got to change how the injury. Didn't they do that a while ago anyway? Like
they did. And it's for gamblers. Like it's the people being protected are not fans. It's basically taking away some gamesmanship from the teams to like trick their opponents into not knowing who's playing so that like lines get set more accurately and the sports books don't suffer. Like, is that the incorrect reading? That feels right to me.
No, totally.
Funny enough, I know that prop bets, the more complex they get, the harder they are to model. So this was like a huge, like, this never used to exist when it was just like straight books. And it wasn't until I can't remember if it was DraftKings or if it was another platform that like really pioneered it. And it was because of just changes in data science that they were able to kind of take on that risk. But it's still pretty risky because it's very, very, very complicated when you're talking about, as you can imagine, like structuring that kind of wager is really tough. And it's why when you see the kind of odds you get, it never really kind of makes that much sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that it would be first on the chopping block because it certainly would make the bookkeepers, digital bookkeepers as it is, like, but also their bottom line a lot easier, a lot safer. But I also think it's like, obviously this is the first step for them to say, well, let's see if this works in our management. Like, if we give them this, will this story go away? I mean, that's obviously what the move is, right? And I just think it's like absurd. I think that like, it's not going to go away. You can tell the players fucking hate it. You see the thing Jalen said?
Yeah.
Where he
what did he say?
Jalen was like, well, he had something stupid too, where he was like, we don't even get a share of the profits. And I was like, Jalen, that's not the road to go down.
Right.
That doesn't even make sense. Don't get involved in that. Also, that's probably like Adam Silver's wet dream. Don't give him that. He has like some supercomputer that he's like can't wait to like partner with some data firm to figure out how players can get paid out from like micro financing, every prop bet through the league's partners with whatever platform. Anyway, but he was just like, of course it feels shitty to get like just fan feedback all the time being like, what the fuck? Why didn't you do this? Or now you're suddenly thinking about that as you're playing, and he's just like, it's, I can't remember his exact words, but he was just like, of course it's changed the way that we experience playing, which is, something that has been echoed across the league. Like Tyrese said that. I think Tatum said something like that. Like there's other players too.
Paolo Banchero recently yelled at a guy.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
I have from Shams here the memo that NBA sent its teams. I just want to read the final paragraph here because it's almost like they consulted Shams for writing advice, but then the actual conclusions are also crazy making. We are also exploring ways to enhance our existing internal and external integrity monitoring programs to better utilize AI and other tools to synthesize all available data from betting operators, social media, and other sources to identify betting activity of concern. So I just, as someone with a stake in FanDuel success, I find myself like very, very reassured that the integrity of the betting operators will be guaranteed by AI.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we need. What we need is actually more surveillance, because that doesn't actually feed or fuel the betting itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is also like, it's so, you talk about like, who was that press release for?
Yeah.
That is not for fans. That is like designed to be, impenetrable to the average person, because like, why would you read that? It's like,
it's just for the owners and for Congress, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is they asked him to send a letter. They're not asking him to testify yet, I think.
yeah.
I want to see that. Put him up in
know.
front of Congress.
Dude.
Get him
Adam
up there,
Silver.
get grilled.
We would have to pull up. We would do your version of the Ghislaine trial. Me and Patrick.
But it's like some asshole like Josh Hawley would take the mantle and like would saber rattle against like DraftKings, as it's like a kind of, and you'd be like, this guy's so annoying.
There's,
but I
I
still
feel like
want to see it.
we've mostly talked about the like sort of psychic experience of gambling as it's like changing this media product and basketball like as it's consumed. But I think like the real concern here, and this gets us back to what the Dunked On guys said, is that like at least a real concern is that the game as it's being played is like not the game as it actually is, that there's like competitive integrity is compromised in this major way by players like subsuming the game to gambling. And what the Dunked On guys said, which I think is like true in the micro sense, but misses this like important bit of context, was that like, do I think this will affect like a Thunder Nuggets playoff game? Like at the highest level when the basketball really matters? Like, no, which I think is like certainly true in the moment. And there's like a larger thing here about how most of these games involve like tanking teams where the basketball is itself like sort of structurally meaningless. But I think it's like, as we've talked about, such a mistake to just stop there and be like, well, it'll never be a problem. Or that like you could look at like the larger order trends of like production within the league and think that like this is going to be made better by like increasing partnership with sovereign wealth funds and gambling companies.
Yeah, but it's also like, is that your fucking bar? Oh, it's not gonna fix the finals, so I'm fine with it. Here's my thing. Everyone needs to stop being such a fucking cheap date. I'm serious. Here's my advice to everyone. Raise your standards. Stop it. Raise your standards. Like your standard is, the finals, the NBA finals won't be fixed, so it's fine. This is, it reminds me a little bit of, and maybe this is not, I don't know if this works, but just thinking about this, the sort of weird, not weird, but the unfortunate disparity in the players union, which is that it's very top heavy. And that was because a lot of, Chris Paul and, kind of bigger players. Yeah, the banana boat, basically. It's so crazy that like all these guys are going to be out of the league too. That's like a trip for me. But anyway, that's another topic. The banana boat negotiated to get these max salaries, which really protected the biggest stars, right? And for everyone who's kind of like middling to like the kind of like just like mid-level to lower player, like it's not great. Like it's tough. Look at like someone like Dennis Schroeder. Perfect example. Someone who on the right team is like a really important, can be a good contributor. I know you're smiling. I feel
Don't
bad.
look up what team he's on right now, by the way.
No, you know what's funny is I actually did that a few weeks ago and I was like, no shit. But
On purpose. They signed him. Huh?
Yeah. The thing about, it's someone's got to, is the thing. But I will say, I really liked him on the Pistons, so I was actually kind of bummed.
It was awesome.
But yeah, and he was apparently really loving it. That's another thing. So this guy has like been traded from team to team to team. He was on like 5 teams last season. It was like psycho. Yeah. And, he is plug and play, kind of like maybe he kind of fits, maybe he doesn't, but he is a good player. He works, and he's just like trying to maintain a salary and be in the league. He will never be and never was going to be a max player or a star or whatever it is. But like, there's not a lot of protections out there for him. And the way that the cap is structured, these guys just get tossed around. You know what I'm saying? That's not good. And that came at the expense of a lot of guys getting really, really sweet blockbuster deals and the teams having to like carve out this, you know, the teams are kind of hamstrung too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how the ownership, whatever. It's very complicated. But like, I just think that for the dunked on guys to like use that as their bar is like, to your point, is so short-sighted, right? Like, really, like, that's it. Like, if we're only really focused, and I know they don't think that, they're just using that as a rhetorical, you know, way to get out of the argument and move on. Because for a lot of dumb people, they're like, oh yeah, of course that's not gonna happen. Let's move on. Who cares? Who cares about a tanking team? Who cares about the small guys if their you know, contracts are such that they, you know, feel the need to kind of like get involved in this kind of stuff or want to, or their buddies, you know, a lot of times, which seems to be the case with Rozier, it's like your friends, your homies are like, bro, hook me up, come on, you know, and whatever.
D. Jones got to eat too.
Right.
Oh, incredible text. Sorry, I'm rambling. But all I'm saying is that like, I think that these guys are totally missing the entire picture. And even if it doesn't affect the finals, it's still bad. It's affecting the league in so many other ways. You know, even if it's on a fucking team for a player you don't give a fuck about. Like, I'm sorry. It's just like, you know, grow up.
Well, and like totally, I about one of the reasons athletes get paid such exorbitant sums is they volunteer themselves up to get projected on. They are like, I am going to like project these values of hard work and morality and all that stuff. And so like that is part of what the money's for, is like, I am being like, these people are doing this superhuman, incredible thing at a high level that I never imagined. And I can project this understanding of the way I want my life to be, or the values that I see in my life, and I get to watch it. And that performance is worth money to me. And when that performance gets tainted by something that nobody fucks with, which is like cheating, the whole thing could fall. I mean, I don't literally think the whole thing is
it's a confidence game.
Yeah.
But it already is. Like, that's what I'm saying. This is the same way that any kind of belief in any institution starts to crack. The second that the biggest voices in sports media say, I don't care, it's gone.
Right.
You know,
like, that's what the media is for.
Ostensibly, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's cap space is the code, the promo code you're looking for.
Well, something interesting,
or Kids Corner, or whatever.
Something interesting I thought about when reading the statement by Chauncey Billups' lawyer is that it's basically the same exact thing Steve Ballmer said on ESPN when he was asked about the aspiration stuff, which is basically like, why would I risk, you know, engaging in this thing? I'm worth so much money. Like it's small potatoes, or like, I'm so smart. Like I would never do that and get tricked. And I think it's like, it is sort of interesting that people involved in both scandals would just like you to believe that it's not worth their time to engage in them, which I feel is like sort of insulting to me to ask me to believe that. But also like the thing with Jonte Porter, and I didn't want to talk about Malik Beasley because his list of debts is kind of crazy, is that like, if you are a guy who gets like $3 million worth of NBA money, like, and in Jonte Porter's case, his knees were all fucked up and he couldn't get more. It's like, that is not enough money to set you up for life.
Say that's not a lot of money. That's not enough money at all.
Especially like, I mean, you get the it's like, you know, the smallest violin in the world, but it's like you're getting so much taken out in taxes, and you got to pay your agents, you got to support your body, like all this stuff. Like, so I agree. It's
and it's the only thing that you're qualified to do in life. Like, that's the other thing is, it's like, what do these guys do when they're, I mean, this was always a problem with the NFL, but it's, you know, to see it in the NBA, you know.
No.
Well, like you were saying about the salaries, it becomes more of a problem as there's increased polarization between what the stars can make and what like the, you know, a bench player can make. And like,
absolutely.
I think an important thing with Porter here, both like discursively and materially, is that he got involved with all these gamblers because he was doing crazy Robin Hood style, like daily stock picks. Like if you go back and look at his Twitter from the time, he's doing like young money hustler sort of proto crypto shit.
Yes.
And like, there are so many obvious on-ramps to both like gambling, but also like thinking of every sort of unit of your life through these like very like gross economic interactions that you're like trying to win all the time. And if you are like someone who is involved in like this like larger order, like team winning, like basketball, like those two things I think are totally in conflict.
Yeah. Ugh, it makes me sick. I'm sorry.
It feels
the
bad.
world is so, yeah, it makes me sick.
The one of the members in the Publitory finds out Malik Beasley's story. One of the main guys, the Free Moose, was his Twitter account, NBA Free Moose. He was a huge crypto, hustler, same type of thing, and tried to create two separate NBA related crypto coins called like, it's called like the National Coin Association or something. Like it's like NBA but for coin or whatever.
Now's the time.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I told you guys I saw Tristan Thompson at the Bitcoin conference, right?
Oh, I don't know. If
At that time, still an active NBA player.
Wow.
Damn. I forgot about him.
Yeah, not
Is he
so much
still,
these
wasn't
days.
he like on the Lakers?
He was on the Cavs
Or on the
last
Cat? I
season?
can't remember.
He had a PED suspension, I remember,
Mhm.
which is another
right.
thing that I obviously doesn't get talked about because like you can't say determinatively what's
You
happening
gotta
there.
wait
but
till
like,
LeBron's out of the league.
Literally,
I have
yeah.
my own.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
was it Jeff Teague who made the HGH joke and then had to be like, just kidding, just playing, y'all.
Yes.
I feel like the tide is like really turning on LeBron. By the way,
That's
there's like
interesting.
some weird shit going on.
Wait, let's do a
Can we
LeBron
do a side?
check-in, because I've also had I have been thinking a lot about LeBron as the iconography of LeBron as well. Again, because he's in all these memes. But I want to hear what you.
Well, I think it started. So it was just like everyone clocked his. Everyone became a body language expert again with his, sideline activity in the Lakers opener, where he was just like the grumpiest.
Totally out of it.
Totally out of it. I mean, it looks like I would be shocked if he plays for the Lakers this season. I actually would be shocked. But I say that and then like he's playing like next game. So who knows? But the way it looks.
You sound like Damon Jones selling info to gamblers here.
I know.
Let Liz eat.
No, I just mean like there seems to be a bit of an argument going on, which we knew because all that shit coming out from the Lakers side over the off season, which was just like, I'm like, why did he fucking sign that qualifying? I don't know. Or not qualifying. The player option.
Player option, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, couldn't find the word. No, but so he looked just like he didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh, I recognize that from when he was on the Cavs. I recognize that shit from the Heatles, like the last days of Heatles, like, you know what I mean? Like this is his like lapout is on full display. And then there was like all these players have like started on the podcast circuit, trickling out all this kind of talking shit a little bit about LeBron.
Mm.
There was like that one, there's just like, oh, you can't really talk shit about LeBron. That kind of came out. And a bunch of other people being like, making clutch jokes, of course, when Chauncey walked out of the courthouse. Incredible image, wearing the clutch t-shirt. Little like, signal to his boys.
It really was like.
I mean, obviously.
Harry, you've been talking about LeBron memes. That was like LeBron meme as method of communication around like a federal indictment.
Unbelievable. And I feel like there's some other stuff. Like, I just feel like there's been, and then all this Stephen A. Smith shit, which of course he is like always doing his own thing and he's on his own calendar. So who knows what what level he's on.
Litigating, yeah.
Yeah. But it just seems like people are starting to feel more comfortable critiquing LeBron and the way that he's handled his career. And also like the MJ stuff I feel like has really dropped off, like for sure. So I don't know. That's something that I've been noticing. Maybe because they really think he's like 2 feet, 1 foot in the grave or whatever, but proverbially. But I don't know.
my two kind of Braun things. One, I've something we've been on, a beat we've been on this year is that this season is going to be defined by who is and who isn't an unk, and like LeBron is king unk, and then the other, the other sort of cultural thread I've been pulling on is like I really think we are in the early to middle stages of like the great millennial reckoning, like the great reckoning with millennial culture. And there's that David Marks book that's about to come out, like whatever. I'm seeing people are being like, what the hell was up with the epic bacon, shit like that. And LeBron
is a theater kid.
And not only is he kind of like has epic bacon undertones, like he also just like literally is like one of the 6 most important millennials.
Totally.
Ever, basically.
Remember all the corny shit he would do with the Heat when they would do those fucking videos and he would make
Harlem
those
Shake?
crazy, yes, and
Oh my
all those
God.
like faces. Like he loved to do the like crazy like cross-eyed like smirk face.
I just remember this. Speaking of this exact thing, do you remember the Ray Shrummer challenge where everybody would stand still and that song Black Beatles would play?
Totally.
They did that in the White House with Michelle Obama.
Yes. Shit.
That's like a perfect one sentence descriptor
I was
of like.
just thinking.
Well, to your point, earlier about LeBron's like kind of chuggy millennial theater kidness, I think that actually is like more emblematic than maybe we've even said of like his millennial shit, because so much of that is in reaction to like the Jordan trauma and this like from this moment he was 16 years old, people basically saying like, you'll never be Michael Jordan, this like avatar of like Gen X excellence and his own sort of like traumatized, fuck them all up, like hyper competitive way. And like LeBron, both as a player and as a person, I think like has sort of shown that there's like a different way to be like in the GOAT conversation. Like you don't have to like Kobe was just like a Jordan analog, and like LeBron is kind of doing his own thing. And I think he started to really let loose once he won a title and was sort of like unburdened of those expectations. But the way he like expressed that freedom was in this like just classic, like stone cold millennial way.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think it's funny or poetic in some way that Jordan is taking back this kind of like, prime media moment in the potentially last season, probably not, but close to last season of LeBron's career. He's got the specter of the father haunting him even on his fucking broadcast. That must, man, to see, I mean, that's kind of funny, right? You see Jordan sitting there and then you cut to LeBron pouting on the sideline because the fucking Lakers won't,
sitting next to his son.
Next to his own son. Oh my God, the Oedipal drama of it all. I love it.
Sigmund Freud. You would have loved the 24-25 NBA season.
One thing though that I will say, just in defense of millennials, because why not?
Sure.
We're all.
I'm 23 years old. Don't talk to me like that.
There's so many fucking amazing across sports millennial athletes, and it's not just because we're a very large generation. I will make that known so people don't go, well, it's because of this. No, across sports, you've got like the people in the literal GOAT conversation in every sport.
Messi, yeah.
Football, tennis. Are you fucking kidding?
It's true.
NBA. I mean, this is like, it does make me sad because I watch these games and I'm like, what is this league after these guys? I know everyone loves talking about this, but man, like it is tough out there. It's tough. And it doesn't seem like it's not getting any clearer, I mean, the league always had moments like that, but
that's
I do think millennial excellence, fine, we're corny, but we were fucking good at it.
Yeah. And like, I wonder if you can read, I mean, this flows nicely into like a Victor conversation, because I wonder if you can read his performance of doing as they kept saying on the broadcast 10,000 times, Kung Fu with Shaolin monks. I wonder if you can read that as a sort of like Zoomer, like apotheotic rejection of like millennial norms and this embrace of like pure performance and, you know, all that sort of thing.
His social media, like his sort of performance as superstar, which is mostly mediated through his social media, or other people's, you know, kind of somehow randomly taking a photo of him at a Shaolin temple,
and Chairman Mao
is super interesting. And I do jokingly like have staked out a anti-Wembanyama position, but I'll table
That's
that.
tough.
I know, yeah.
It's cool. I'm going super strong on my anti-Chalamet position, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be holding deep through Marty Supreme, and it's going to be a tough one, but I will persevere.
I got a quick bit of ammo for you. In 2000, I probably told this story like 7 times on the podcast, but in 2012 in 2014, Timothée Chalamet went to visit his friend at Skidmore College and played my friend Dave in one-on-one, and my friend Dave destroyed him. And he sucked at basketball.
Fucking bitch.
His ass.
I'm just kidding. He needs to like chill.
Did you see him on the Anthony Edwards
begging
White Boy show?
for awards is lame, dude. You gotta, again, stop being a cheap date. Hold yourself to a better standard. Chill the fuck out and put on some weight. Get in the weight room.
Well, he would be just, I mean, he's looking like Reed Shepherd.
These kids are distorting their body image with the front-facing camera. You know, we don't need no more concave chest, Timmy. Grow up.
Totally. Yeah. He could.
Get his ass.
I have so much more to say about him.
This is the
That's
second
actually
week-
substantive. I'm just being a bitch now. I'm
Right.
sorry. I don't mean to give people body image issues. It's just for Timmy specifically, nobody else.
This is the second week we've done a Timmy segment because Anthony Edwards awarded him the White Boy of the Year award,
I saw that.
and he showed up.
Anthony Edwards, by the way, hammy.
Feels bad.
Oh no!
Dude,
I didn't even-
hammy
2 weeks.
issue at the start of the season. Don't like that.
They say 2 weeks, but that's like a forever.
Don't like that.
Hammies are-
yeah,
they never
that's
go
not
away.
good. Anyway,
well, I'm
sorry.
glad it's being
we were talking
reported
about
accurately
Wemby.
and early. So anyone who's betting on the Wolves, they have a national TV game against the Nuggets either tonight or tomorrow. So get those bets in early. Use code BEDSTY.
Yeah,
Get 15% off.
Use code Edmonds Run. The point to like Wemby as a reaction, and like I think that, well, I've seen some people be like Wemby is going to be the litmus test for like if the NBA can adopt or if an American market can adopt a foreign star, which like doesn't feel totally correct to me because I do feel like Dirk, for example, like had extreme, was beloved as an athlete, but I can't totally say because like for a chunk of his career I was not following it as intensely. But the point, I don't have much to say other than that, like Wemby. It is just so interesting because he seems so apathetic toward his public persona, and yet his public persona is remarkably consistent and documented all the time. Like you are always hearing about Wembanyama. You're just hearing him look sort of like blasé and French at various places. And it's almost like if you really didn't care, would you hear anything about him learning the dream shake from Hakeem, like one of like 38 NBA players?
Well, there's a lot of other people on his team invested in him,
Right,
Which
so it
is
could be
like
that, yeah.
something. I mean, I think there's like a couple things. One, I think the whole like foreign star America market is kind of I just don't know if that's the exact right way to look at it. I don't know. I'm not convinced by that Americans are so. That are like, I'm not into this guy because he's not American. Like, it just doesn't, I don't think it's just that. I mean, I think the thing with Dirk to remember though is that like, that was also when Kobe was around. So it's like the league was just like totally different. Right. I do think someone like Wemby is very captivating. You know, just his sheer ability is so captivating. And one thing that has been, I think people were concerned with in his rookie year, but I think was made clear in both the the Olympics documentary, and then just what we've seen in these past like 3 games is like what was up with his own competitive spirit, which is clearly there. Like the dude is a fucking beast and like does give a shit. And I feel like that was always like people weren't really clear how to take his kind of blasé-ness or his own ambivalence, what felt like his own ambivalence to this sport. But he is like swatting. I mean, you could see he got kicked out of the game because he wanted 10 blocks or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, and it was such a cute, like him fouling out was so cute because it was just like almost like animal, like baby animal that couldn't control its limbs kind of situation. Like he was, it's just so cute to watch. I don't know. I'm going to see him in November.
Hell yeah.
He's coming on the pod.
No, I wish. Can you imagine? No, I got tickets to a game and to see the Spurs, and I just like praying that he's available and not injured because I got to see this in person. But I don't see him in a Coca-Cola ad. No. I don't see him doing the Harlem Shake like LeBron. Like, but is that what is demanded now? Like, I don't know. The media landscape and the kind of commercial landscape is so different that maybe just having this niche social media presence or carved out personality brand is enough to carry eyes and bring in new fans. Like I always think about that with, it's just like the stuff that we're kind of, and everyone's, comparing it to, we just like don't live in that world. The league doesn't live in that world anymore. You know what I mean? Like the Sprite ads and the shoe ads, all that shit is happening on the phone, less so on the networks. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like all of this stuff is kind of changing and that it's very difficult to assess like who has star power and who doesn't.
Yeah. And I think Cooper Flagg is an interesting sort of evolution of a lot of this too, because like the way he has like carried himself since he came on the court at Duke as if he is like the chief product being offered by Cooper Flagg LLC, from like the New Balance sponsorship to like the Larry Bird as favorite player thing. It's like,
sorry.
Which brings us to Chet Holmgren finally.
Wait, can we talk hoops for a second? What do you make of the Dallas team?
It's so funny that if you're under 6'9", you're not allowed to play. They're so busted.
Insurance. First of all, can we say Davis is fat?
Yes.
Okay, just want to get that.
It
was like they had to have one fat player on the team. Like, right. Can you imagine what they're like fucking think? They're like, all right, we finally got rid of the fatso, and then Anthony Davis walks in and he's like, put on 30 pounds or whatever. No, not muscle.
Yeah, Davis, talk about generations. Davis makes me go like full boomer now because his inability to play center, despite it being just like so so clear the highest level of basketball that they're only good when he plays center, it is like it just makes my blood boil.
But he's someone who like also has never, I mean, we talk about like competitive drive, like everyone always made fun of him for that. Everyone always made fun of the injury. I mean, I feel bad. Clearly he's got like actual like issues.
7 feet tall, yeah.
But also like, he's a little soft. Mm-hmm. It always felt like, everyone talks about it. But anyway, so that I don't get from Wemby, I will say. Like, I think like the muscle that he put on this year, and it seemed a little like he was unsure about letting guys. I mean, he's like almost 8 feet tall, so I get it. But like, the kind of, he seemed more open to the kind of welcoming the physicality in these past couple games than I feel like I've seen in the past. And maybe that was from all of the muscle he put on over the summer. But Davis has always run from that. Like always. And it never made any sense to me.
Yeah, he's never wanted to be a center, I think, because he doesn't want to get the shit beaten out of him, which like evinces this kind of fundamental misunderstanding that like beating the shit out of people is like a kind of basketball's whole thing.
Right.
And like with Wemby coming in, I remember reading like before the draft even, he and his coaches being like, we understand that anyone this tall, inevitably their feet will break down and they will die. But we have coaches who taught him how to stretch each one of his toes specifically. So we're all good. And he's saying this in like 2022 or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Dallas is, I don't know. It's just, I feel bad. But like, I guess you put Cooper Flag at point because you just want to try it. But this kid isn't ready, I feel like. No?
I think we're about to say the same thing, which is like, it's short term, clearly bad. I actually do really like it for his development as like a point guard. You know, you're talking to the Urban High School honorable mention, point guard my senior year. Like I love the point guard position. But so I do think that there's I think there's a real long-term value in at least having him run some point. I am interested by the on the other hand, like if he doesn't, if he's finishes like third in rookie of the year straw polls, like in 2 months, there is going to be if I were him, I would be experiencing serious psychic damage around that. So it's this balance of like, do you put him in the position to succeed quickly or not?
Thank God Jason Kidd's and
They
got some great decision makers over there.
I was going to say something different actually on Cooper, which is that I was thinking about this when I was watching both the Mavs play, who are huge, and the Rockets and Thunder play the first game of the season on opening night, where that game involved two teams with two huge bigs just beating the shit out of each other. And it involved Reed Shepherd, this theoretically load-bearing player on the Rockets, just getting hunted on every possession and just like mercilessly decimated. And I think there's this like interesting thing with NBA basketball over the past 10 years where, a decade ago, after Steph Curry invents the three-point shot, you get all these teams going tiny. Like the Rockets are like, Robert Covington is our center, and this freak out over like the death of the big man. Whereas now, just like 5 years later, that teams have like understood how to like not recreate Steph Curry in the aggregate, but like understand that 3 is more than 2, that you have to like stand around and guard space, that like the bigger you can be while playing that style, the better you will be. And there's this almost like opposite thing where like if you're under 6'4" and you can't defend or shoot at like a crazy high level, it's going to be harder and harder to find a place in the league. So like Cooper as point guard is sort of a harbinger of this like positionless future, but in the opposite way we thought there would be a positionless future 5 years ago.
I want to, this is maybe things of this nerdy kind of on the court basketball thing I've been thinking about, which is it's early, it's what a weekend. I have not seen, and I would love our analytics department, Owen Phillips, to write something or talk to us about this, because I have seen more. Şengün does this all the time. It's always want to call it the Şengün ISO. It is the post up from the top of the key, posting up in just directly into the key, almost in a straight line. I have seen this play come out more in this season than I have ever before, and
within a big like sky hook.
Yes,
kinda.
Or like a like bump with your butt, 15-footer.
Right, and you need the big butt, and then the like kind of lobbing it over.
And what's interesting to me about this specific play, because it's such a wonky looking like offensive move, but what is unique, it almost reminds me of how in the NFL everybody went cover 2, like 2 safeties back, and then all of a sudden the middle of the field was more open because you've got the 2 safeties more spread out, blah, blah, blah. Same thing is kind of happening where like defenses are reacting, staying home on shooters, and that it's created this weird negative space directly in the middle of the court, but you can kind of only get there by booty bumping your way there.
Well, another player that reminds me of this kind of move is Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was always kind of like dominating in that area to the point that, and I will say like Şengün earned a lot of affection from the sports glitterati regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to the postseason, you start seeing some trouble. You know what I mean? Because things kind of change a little bit. But it reminds me a little bit of that, where I think you're right that all of these, especially, I mean, with every team trying to like basically mimic OKC's, 5 out like construction. They're really just trying to spread, to your point, spread the floor, but with as big and as long of guys as you can. And it's you're right that the lanes that kind of open up from that are it's like a different geometry than maybe people expected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look out for that as I watch. And Liz, you have segued us into very nicely, because who did Şengün get shut down by in the playoffs last year? But a guy that I've spent a third of my life thinking about for some reason, Draymond Green. You guys are both Warriors
noticed you're
fans.
wearing the t-shirt.
And I've sort of become a Warriors fan by proxy, because like, what are you going to do? Spend all your time watching the Kings? No. What I was going to ask is like, what do you think about the Warriors this season? They look awesome to me.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm a Horford guy.
I'm into it, but I'm also skeptical, I would say.
They're ancient.
I will say this. Steph looks fucking great. Holy shit. Some of that's roster, but he's got a spring in his step that I haven't seen in a minute.
Mm-hmm. It's because he's Pauly. He was able to be Pauly all summer. He's unburdened.
I don't want to know
Abundance.
anything.
No,
that is like pure angel baby. I don't want to know anything about his personal life. Get his wife out of here. I don't want to hear anything. Like, I don't want to know. He's like a Ken doll to me. I don't want to know anything about his you know what I'm saying?
Completely.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You want to diagnose him with not having internet.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he do. And he's reading Polysecure on his Kindle.
He's on field or whatever.
Yeah, he's got a great field for the game. Dang.
No, I think that there's like a lot of fun on this roster. And there's a lot of guys that I'm like, damn, these remind me of like a classic Warriors guy. You know what I mean? And it does feel like as we come to the end of the Steve Kerr era, which is coming, and the whole dynasty, such as it is, there's a lot of guys that on this team specifically that I feel are like emblematic of that, of like the guys that helped carry a lot of those championship teams. Here's the thing. They need like some guys that can take, so like they do need some size. Like I feel like I'm always saying this, and it's really fun watching Horford like still talk about millennial excellence, right? Still fucking doing this and having the space to actually stay healthy potentially because of what the construction like offers him, you know? But then you see him get the run from a team like Portland where you're just like, what are you fucking doing? And I'll say this, you brought up OKC and the Rockets game, which, you know, yeah, I'll take the, you know, I like the Rockets a lot more than I still am such a like to the bones like OKC hater, and I will say it with my chest, I don't like this team.
That's millennial excellence.
I don't think they're as, I just like genuinely I think the Pacers would have beat them in game 7 if Hallie was still,
I love it.
if he had a leg. I just do, in my bones I believe that.
Too much TikTok dancing.
They were so scared.
Yeah.
The Nugget, man, if this is also Gordon's like vengeance tour right now, which is so fun to watch, I think is also animated a little bit by like him knowing that they would have beat them.
Yeah. That was the real finals.
Yeah.
2 game 7s decided by injuries. Also, now that you bring that up, Haliburton, very millennial coded Zoomer superstar.
Yes.
And obviously
Fucking-
OKC the most Zoomer coded team.
what's his name, called him like a Disney star or some shit, and I was like, damn, that's so. But the other thing, I think I said this last time, but I will defend Haliburton because I feel like there's something kind of like Ferris Bueller about him. Like I
love that characterization.
Yes, like I feel like he's like a little bit like puckish or like prankster that I think could be is a really sweet energy.
So
They
but
actually,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
They expand on this. There is an element of what I'm about to say in the Netflix season 2, which is to me the skeleton key for understanding and ultimately like liking and even loving Haliburton is in him being a huge WWE fan. When you understand that he like loves WWE, like loves it, like goes to things.
Does he have like goes to conventions?
Yeah,
and
I don't know
stuff?
if he goes to convention, but he's like
Because
he's
I
like
could see it.
yeah. I think he engages in the performance of being a star in a WWE way.
that is so important, and that is something that the league doesn't have. And I think that is what so many casuals, when they were watching the finals, were like, who is this kid? Like the swag, I hate saying that, but the swag that he had on the court, that fucking shot in game one. It was game one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, which game one? It was every game.
I know, it was
every
every game.
Yeah.
But they were so fun. And Carlisle too, like there's just like a kind of like that scrappy energy that leans into the performance. And I think that goes to, I mean, it makes total sense that he'd be a WWE kid because he so embraces being the heel, but in a like very playful way. And I think that is one of the things that when people are like, who's going to carry the mantle of the league or whatever, people forget, or they don't forget, but it's like until like the Christmas games, they forget that like Braun and Steph like fucking care about the performance of being a star, and like they love putting on a show. Like they will go out there for the biggest games. They know what it's like being, they know when it's on network, they know what time it's on, they know who's watching, and they will put on the show for you. And they lean into it, and they know that it's good for the league, and they understand that the league is then good for them and for their teams, and that they, take a certain pride in being larger than life in the kind of like superstar way that, and I just don't see that from a lot of guys. So to kind of like identify Haliburton with maybe some of that genetics, I think is really good for the league, and like should be. And that, I mean, maybe that was what was so hard. I mean, that was so heartbreaking, and maybe it will end up being this like defining, only part of this like defining arc for him. I hope so. But in my heart of hearts, I think they would have won that. Well, like,
I think that's all so
they almost
true.
had them
and like,
even in the half.
I mean, they were up at halftime.
TJ,
Like,
TJ
Yes.
McConnell game.
yeah,
Anyway.
it's kind of a heartbreaking finals to think about. Even like, and I will say this as someone who is like, broadly speaking, pro OKC. Can you imagine Shea like pumping up the crowd in any context?
That's
Even
such
after
a
Talk
hitting a
about
game-winning shot.
ambivalent star.
like going like, yeah, can you even imagine him doing the kind of pump
That's
up?
swagless.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
enough
I just think that
Canadians.
he does not have it,
No, which
is why his outfits are so crazy. He has to like he has to compensate for his lack of it with his crazy outfits. He's peacocking. He's
Yeah.
peacocker.
many before us. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah.
I'll go out and, downtown New York.
I'm saying it with my chest, man.
Important Haliburton corollary. I think the lesson here is that if you start your career in Sacramento, which like obviously I did, obviously he did, then like good things will come to you, but you have to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig, obviously.
Sure.
Who else? Aaron Gordon, sort of.
Kind of.
He's Tom Hanks,
Close.
low key.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
His crazy ass white boy son.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've gone very long. Thank you so much, Liz, for joining us. This was great.
Anytime.
It is. It's always awesome. And for anybody who doesn't listen to TrueAnon, go give it a listen. They're having the guy who wrote the Goon article. That's as good of a plug as any. But the
there
show
you
is
go.
excellent, of course.
Thanks, guys.